All right. Welcome back to Hobby Hangout, Slay the Gray, painting, live stream, all that good stuff. My name's Sam, this is Big Nerds Wargaming, and today I am painting something I picked up at Adepticon this year, and it is the Lictor. I got a couple of them actually, so I'm going to be painting one of them tonight. We'll see how far I get. The Lictor. So I primed this black, and I'm doing this in a sub-assembly. So we just did some touch-up black on here, so I'm waiting for that to dry. But we have the body and the arms, and then we have the head and the other arms. And I'm going to try to get this focus going for us here. I think I'm just going to have to go with manual focus for now. The autofocus doesn't like to play nice. Yeah, that's looking better. All right. So, just gonna let this dry a little bit, and yeah. So, Adepticon this year was great. I had a lot of fun. Picked up a lot of stuff. Maybe too much stuff, but it was good. I had a lot of fun. So I'm gonna actually take this and hit it with the hairdryer because it's not dry yet. So I'm just gonna speed us along here, and we can get along to the base coats. Alright, so my Tyranid Hive Fleet scheme kind of shows what the end result is going to look like. It's going to look something like this. So this is a Von Ryan's Leaper. You can see there's like some greens in the skin tone, and then there's like some teal gray shades in the carapace. Here's what a Termagant looks like. And then we have a Tyranid Warrior Prime. So this is kind of the end result we're going to go for on the Lictor. So to start off with the skin, I'm going to be starting with a dry brush buildup with Castellan Green. And I'm just going to be using an Army Painter moderate dry brush. Makeup brushes also work well for this too. I kind of like these Army Painter ones. The bristles are a little bit stiffer, so depending on what effect you're going for, different brushes will kind of behave differently. And I tend to like these stiffer ones. I'm just gonna wipe some of this off on my palette here, or my paper towel, and we're just gonna go ahead and start dry brushing the skin green. Now my Tyranid Hive Fleet scheme has evolved over the years. It's at a place where I really like it. A little bit more advanced techniques than what I was initially doing, but I'm really happy with it. Because I've grown as a painter, so I like to try to apply what I've learned to what I'm painting. So I've kind of adapted my scheme to fit more with my skill level and what I'm kind of comfortable with painting for an army of this size. So it's all about finding what works best for you and your skill level. But I do want to try to do a scheme that's pretty quick to paint as well. That's important. especially with a swarm army like the Tyranids. All right, so for the head, we're gonna do the same thing, just getting base coats down, and I'm gonna get that green Tyranid fleshy color kind of as a foundation, and then we can deviate from that with shades and other things later. Whoops, there goes the head. I was worried about that. These sub-assembly holders are ones that I printed. I printed them on my 3D printer. There's a free file on my Thingiverse, I think it was. And they work out great, especially for sub-assemblies. And I got the three-pronged one because I thought it would be good for working on infantry, where I have the head, and then their arms with the guns. So I'm going to be careful not to knock these off the sub-assembly holder. So it's actually kind of a good thing that it fell off, because it means that I did not use too much glue. I have had run into that problem where they get fused to the sub-assembly holder, and it's just not a good time. So just gotta get that green dry brush going. Yep, there goes another arm. Might have to ditch the sub-assembly holder. That's okay though. It's not necessary. Not 100% necessary. Just gonna get that Castellan green dry brush going all over the skin. I'm going at it kind of hard. That's okay, because it's a very dark green. And it's just really kind of building those darker skin tones, blending in with the black base coat. Kind of going in small circular motions. Oh, there goes another hand. Well, I probably should have used some super glue. I was trying out a different type of glue, like a plastic glue, but it doesn't actually melt plastic. So I thought it would be a good alternative to super glue because it wouldn't be so strong, but it looks like it's a little on the weak side. But that's okay. I'll make do. Yep, there goes the other arm. Came right off. I'll just use my fingers and they'll get a little dirty. That's okay. Evening, Sam. Hello, David. Welcome. Painting some Lictors that I picked up at the Adepticon, among some other things I picked up. It's a very good convention. A lot of fun. 10 out of 10. Would do it again. So I'm going to layer on that green on his chest here, torso. Yeah, Adepticon was great. Tournament went well. The doubles tournament. A lot of the other events I went to were a lot of fun. Got to hang out with a bunch of my friends, and yeah, it was great. I will be doing a full recap video. Andrew also went, so we're gonna kind of talk about our experiences. We actually did a lot of different things. I only saw him like once at the convention, so we're gonna do a video and we're gonna talk about our experiences and kind of show some cool stuff. And so that'll be coming out shortly, probably in about a week or so. That'll be out on the channel. We'll go into more detail about a lot of stuff, so be on the lookout for that. I'm working on my budget for next year's event. Awesome. Yeah, it's not cheap, but it is. If you can make it work, it's definitely a lot of fun. If you do go, I would advise try to register for as many events as possible. If you kind of go with a blank agenda, there's actually not much free to do because everyone's playing games. So make sure you get your schedule packed with games, and then also some time for walking around and exploring. But for the most part, yeah, packed schedule is always good. There's a lot to do there, provided you sign up beforehand. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the next color in the skin scheme, and that is Elysian green. It's a very light green, kind of a yellowish green, very Xenos looking, almost xenomorph looking. So I'm using a small Army Painter dry brush, getting that one mostly off the brush here. Just gonna test it here. That might be okay. And we'll start with the torso. Just gonna carefully, lightly build up on those ribs on the torso. And we'll move on to one of these mantis arms. I'm really just focusing on the areas that have the most ridges and detail. So like around the knuckles and joints. Just building up that color. Make that skin a little more interesting. And then I'll do the other one while we're at it. One that's still attached to the sub-assembly holder. I didn't use enough glue. Started dry brushing these and they popped right off. I'll just have to use my hands. Alright, so we got the arms done. Move on to these legs. Gonna get some more paint on my dry brush here. Maybe I'll zoom out a little bit for this. And we'll get into focus here. Going with manual focus tonight. Seeing how that works out. As long as I kind of hold things in the same spot, we should be good. Now the autofocus is kind of jumping all around the place last week and the week before. So hopefully this will be a little bit better viewing experience for those of you online. So, if you stumbled across this video after it has already aired, I do painting weekly on YouTube streaming, starting Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central Time. I have mentioned in other videos and others postings that we do it on Mondays, but that has now since moved to Tuesdays. I will be updating the YouTube banner and kind of other images that would be guiding you towards Mondays, so that we know that it's actually on Tuesdays and not Monday. So stay tuned for that and bear with me in the meantime. And if you are watching, thank you for watching, and I hope you stick around. We're painting a Lictor. Yeah, old plastic glue only works between plastics. Well, this is kind of like a plastic material on these sub-assembly holders. It's not resin, but it doesn't really melt very well. It's this, I was using this Gale Force 9 glue. It says it's a plastic glue, but it doesn't really melt the plastics together. It just kind of forms a, I don't know, it's almost like, I'm not a huge fan of it. It kind of behaves like super glue, but it's not actually super glue, so yeah, not a fan. If I'm gluing plastic, I like to fuse it together with a Mia extra thin or even like the testers plastic glue. Stuff really bonds. Some people like to super glue everything, even the plastic, and I don't like that. I guess it's fine for when you're picking up something secondhand and you need to change the loadout so you can pop off the arms. But I know you're on the risk of things breaking when you drop it with super glue. It's very strong, but it tends to just kind of snap when the bond breaks. Because the plastic glue actually melts the plastic together, and that's not coming apart. Just gonna build up the greens on the arm here. Yeah, so we got a nice subtle build up from black to that light Elysian green. Let's get the head real quick. I think I'm gonna try to glue these back on the sub-assembly holders. At least the head. After I finish this dry brush. Because after that, everything should be kind of more gentle. So. Alright, I'm gonna clean my brush off real quick. Is it a CA or a CA plus? I'm not sure I follow. All right. Let's get this head glued back on the sub-assembly holder. See how this works out. Otherwise, I might just ditch it. But it would make painting a bit easier. The glue you showed. Oh. It is Gale Force 9. Contains polystyrene cement. Does not say. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, that's no good. That's not sticking. 1001, 1002, 1003. Alright, we're gonna have to go without the sub-assembly holder. That's okay, I don't really need it. It's just kind of a nice to have. Alright, so next up comes the carapace. So I will do the carapace next. And for that, we will start with Incubi Darkness for the base coat. I'm going to try autofocus just to see. Continuous autofocus. And we'll zoom in just a little bit. Zoom in. So. Lictor's got a lot of carapace going on. Just going to use a bigger brush for that. On my Kolinsky Sable brushes. Get a little bit of water on there. Form a nice point on the brush, and I'm going to carefully apply that to the carapace. Trying not to get it on the skin that I just painted, because that would be awful. It's very, very dark. But it's okay, we'll be building up to a lighter color. These lictors are very dynamically posed, so I opted for a sub-assembly for painting this one. He's really like hunched over and his arms are kind of sticking out. So I figured they would get in the way. So I decided to do a sub-assembly. And I'm glad I did, because this thing would be very hard to paint otherwise. Also, the new Lictor kit, which I didn't realize, is really cool because you can build it in 3 different poses. I thought it was just the one pose. Just this camera real quick here. I thought it was just the one pose, but it's not. It's actually 3 different poses you can pick from, which is very cool because, you know, like a lot of people like to run multiple in their army. All the poses are really cool. So I have 2 of the Lictors, and funny enough, I didn't pick the pose that's on the box art, where he's just kind of standing there and his arms are kind of spread out. There's 2 poses where he's kind of lunged over. It looks like he's about to leap on something, or you know, he's kind of lurking around. So I thought that looked really cool, so that's what I'm going with. And hopefully, if I can get this done tonight, we can see it when I glue it together in its full glory. Lictor goodness. I'm not using plastic glue. I'm a fan of Zap-A-Gap products. Similar glue, but less drop available. This will be taken apart with the appropriate application force. Ah, interesting. Yeah, I know that the plastic cement kind of freaks some people out with it fusing it together, but I suppose if you want to maybe change the loadout of something down the road, or you want to go back and magnetize something later, that would be a good option. Something a little less permanent. But yeah, I'll keep that in mind. I'll look that up. Yeah, Adepticon was great. Played some Battletech, played some Warhammer 40k, played some Kill Team, played some Armada. I ate delicious food. It was good stuff. Really good time. I got to take a look at the Golden Demon submissions, which is super impressive. I don't know, maybe one day I'll spend 100 hours painting something. Maybe I'll submit it one year. We'll see. That would be really cool. I wouldn't expect to win, but I would. It would be cool to see your model in the cabinet along with everything else. But yeah, that is some next level stuff right there. I probably got a ways to go before I'm anywhere near that level. Yeah, the food in Chicago is good. Yes, it is. There's a burger place nearby called Kuma's Corner. They had an Adepticon special burger. It was like a burger patty and a chicken patty, and I don't know, it was good. It had like a Mountain Dew aioli sauce. I know, it sounds very strange, but it was actually very good. would recommend Kuma's Corner. Alright, so we're going to get the carapace on the torso here. This Incubi Darkness. And then also on the center here, he's got some chest armor going on. So be sure to get that colored, our carapace color. Not getting it on those ribs. And getting this carapace Incubi Darkness. Painting a Biovore yesterday, and it's taken a while. But I don't think this one will be as bad because the Lictor's pretty slender, so not a whole lot of body mass to paint in comparison. Also, I was painting the Biovore to be swapped out between a Biovore and a Pyrovore, so I was kind of painting double the model, I should say, for that one. But that one's coming along. I'm almost done with it. But I figured I'd start with something from the beginning of my process to the end with the Lictor, instead of working on something midway through that I started off camera. Clearly, this is a burger Swiss cheese. Yes. A chicken patty and a burger patty. Yeah. There's also Doritos on it. Flamin' hot Doritos for a little bit of a crunch. Yeah, and it came with fries. I don't think I finished the whole thing. Oh, and it was on a pretzel bun. So, super tasty. A lot of flavor going on. Very unique tasting. Be interesting to see what they come up with next year. I wonder if they do the same burger each year or if they do a different recipe. Oh, they also gave you some dice. So I got 2 Kuma's Corner dice with my burger for the Adepticon special. So that was kind of fun. Alright, next we're going to do the Mantis arms. Oh, I think I missed the underside of his tail here. Just going to get these in the Incubi Darkness. Okay. Yeah. Doritos on a burger is largely criminal. Disagree. Don't knock it until you tried it. That's all I gotta say. I was reading through it and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, but it was quite good. Very unique. Alright, so we're gonna get the head here. Got this on his forehead. Got the Incubi Darkness on the forehead. Yeah, when you go to Adepticon, there's so many different game systems that you didn't even know existed. And there's people playing them. obviously Games Workshop had a big presence there too, but it's cool to see all the other stuff that you don't really normally see a whole lot. Kind of see what's out there. Alright, like that. And let's get these mantis arms. We can move on to the next step, the carapace. Yeah, I guess we'll do these in Incubi Darkness. Might want to try something a little bit different on these arms than I do for everything else in the Tyranids. Kind of to make the Lictors look a little bit more unique and different. So, we'll see how that works out. Make them look a little stealthier, more elite. Yeah, so this pose, he's got his mantis arms closed. The other poses, they're open or like partway open. Really versatile kit. I was pleasantly surprised by that. Yeah, this is a cool pose. In fact, I think I do have on the back of the box to show it, but this is the pose that he's in. Kind of like lurching forward, about to pounce. So that's what this one's gonna look like. Different colors, of course. Be very excited to meet internet personalities that have influenced my hobby. Yes, it would. I got to meet, I'll talk more about this in my upcoming video, but I got to meet and talk to Mini Wargaming Matthew from miniwargaming.com. That was very cool. I was very excited to talk to him. It's kind of a personal hobby hero of mine. So that was really cool. But yeah, it is kind of a surreal experience. You're just kind of walking around and you see different people from different channels just walking by. Mini Wargaming Matthew was the only one I really spoke to, but I did spot a few others. I think I saw Ninjan walking around. I saw the guy from Miscast. He was walking around. A couple others. Mini Wargaming Dave was there too. Oh, I saw Nick from Play on Tabletop. It's just a real small, kind of tight-knit community. So it was really cool to just see everybody there. It's like, whoa, look at that. I know who that is. Yeah, I'd like to meet and talk to a lot more of those guys. And then you have this weird parasocial relationship going on, because it's like you think you know so much about them because from what you see on their videos, but they do share some stuff about themselves, so you do know something about them, but they know nothing about you. You're just a person that watches their videos. So kind of like having that mindset when it's like, oh, so what do I say about myself to kind of bring you up to speed of what yeah, it's kind of a weird thing, the whole internet personality thing. But yeah, no, Matthew, he was really cool, really really nice, really chill. Acted pretty much like he does on camera, so I think he's pretty genuine and pretty natural when he's on camera. That's pretty cool. All right. So we're gonna let that Incubi Darkness dry just a little bit. Actually, I can probably start on the next layer of that. So we're gonna go with Thunderhawk Blue. Well, outside the hobby, I can't really think about myself. So I can start to see your point. Yeah. Like I didn't really talk to Matthew about anything about myself. I did tell him that I have a YouTube channel, but like I was mainly just asking him about the Ravaged Star stuff. He was telling me all about that. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to have a longer conversation with some of those guys and just talk about stuff. Because I'm sure that they could go on for hours. We all could, talking about the hobby lore and stuff and what we like, what we don't like, all that good stuff. But, you know, that's, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much anyone, right? Alright, so, yeah, so we're going to build up the carapace with some Thunderhawk Blue. I'm going to thin this out just a little bit, so it's going to be more of a thinner layer. So we kind of get some of that underdark color showing through and building up. It's okay if this is going to mostly just kind of cover, but it'll be a little bit more vibrant than if I had started with this over black. Excuse me. Yeah, so we can build this up, and then we're gonna wash it with some Nuln oil, and then kind of work on some of the highlights and make the carapace a little bit more interesting. This always looks kind of funny when the paint is wet, so we're going to see how it looks when it dries. And if I need to go on with a second coat. Or if that amount of translucency looks okay. We'll just let it dry. Meantime, I'll continue around the rest. Ooh, I got some chat to look at here. What we got? I live in a kind of a hobby void area. Playing tabletop is north of me in Canada, but they're the closest ones outside the internet. I really don't have access to much beyond the couple of guys that I regularly game with. Even the local game store, we're only playing 40k. Yeah, that's kind of most everyone in our game group is playing 40k too. Maybe like one or two people are playing other games, but I don't know if you can find another game system that's really fun and kind of rope some of your friends into it. It's just kind of like how it goes, but yeah, I know 40k is kind of Warhammer is the big kid on the playground. They're everywhere, and you know, rightly so. I think Warhammer is, they have the best models. As far as gameplay rules go, it's pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect. I would argue maybe some other game systems have better game mechanics, but they just don't have the market presence or the miniatures or the lore or the setting. So kind of like from a whole package deal, I think, yeah, Games Workshop has something really special with Warhammer. I mean, obviously, it's got to be something special if they can routinely raise the prices and we keep buying it every year, so. Yeah, like Armada is a really fun game. Something different. Fantasy, sailing ships, naval combat. And the rules are not that complicated either. So I think some of these other game systems, the rules are just so complex. I'm just going to go over the upper shoulder areas with Thunderhawk Blue again. Get a little bit more vibrant coverage here, better coverage. Even coverage, that's the word I'm searching for. Get some more even coverage. Back, I think I will leave as is. Yeah, that's looking pretty nice. I like that. So these Mantis Claws, I'm going to leave those Incubi Darkness for now. I think I'm going to try to do something a little bit different with those. Oops. Wrong color. But the head, definitely going to lay around some of that Thunderhawk Blue. Get that on the head top there. Try not to get it on the skin. There we go. Then we have the lower half. Not forget about the lower half. So by applying the Thunderhawk Blue pretty thin over this Incubi Darkness, it kind of gives you the effect of a Nuln Oil wash over a pure Thunderhawk in some regards. Because it doesn't fully cover, and you see that darker kind of turquoise green underneath. Or jade green, almost. I don't know what color you'd call Incubi Darkness. It's very dark. It's almost like a dark blue-green. Anyway, I like that color a lot. Get my brush off. Don't want it to get too dry. Excuse me. And just working our way down the pieces of carapace, down the legs. I was like painting Tyranids, switching it up from power armor and other metallic things. I always like painting organic. I feel like it's a little bit more forgiving in some regards. Less rigid. Definitely keeps things interesting. Gonna get these shin guards. And then the tail, I will also not go over with the Thunderhawk blue quite yet. So next, I think we're going to go into the shading. And for that, we're going to use Nuln Oil. Just got a little bit of the sniffles, a little irritation, but luckily I did not get the full-on con flu, just a little bit of the sniffles. Alright, Nuln Oil. So I'm going to go over the Mantis arms, which are already pretty dark. But I'm going to darken those up even more with Nuln Oil. So you get kind of just like a very subtle dark teal, that inky by darkness. And we'll do some cool highlights to that once this all dries. And I think that'll look pretty cool. Kind of experimenting here. I don't have anything really grand planned out other than the general scheme, but I'm definitely just, you know, trying out something new here. And we'll see how it turns out. And on the torso, good old con flu. Yep. I want the wash to be pooling in these kind of lower areas on the armor, but I don't want too big of pools. It's about finding the right balance. So maybe about there. Kind of pushing it around with my brush until it looks okay. Don't want anything extreme going on here. And we'll get the back side. Kind of starting from the top and pulling it down. Only getting a little bit back on my brush when I go back for more, because I don't want to overload this with too much Nuln Oil. I haven't tried the new they're not that new, they've been out for like a year now. The reformulated washes, I have not tried those yet. I think they're supposed to flow a little bit better into the recesses in comparison to the old formula. So when these eventually run out, I will have to give those a try. See if I like them better or not. I do know that you get less in the pot. They reformulated it, and then they also took the opportunity to give you less and charge you the same amount. Oh well. I'm just gonna get this carapace shaded. What I'm mainly looking for is all those little like cracks in the carapace and kind of where the plates stack. Want those recesses shaded nicely. And then on the tail, gotta shade that dark as well. Okay. And lastly, the head. Get Nuln Oil all up in there. Alright, and we'll just let this dry so I don't ruin it. And while that dries, I think I'll start to paint some of these under fleshy bits. And for that, I think we will do Screamer Pink mixed with some... What would happen if I mix Screamer Pink with Xerxes Purple? Maybe 50-50 or so. Xerxes Purple on my palette. Try some Screamer Pink. It's like a dark... Ooh, that's kind of a cool color. I'm sure there's a Citadel color that looks just like it. It's kind of like a dark purplish red. Yeah, that's quite nice. I like that. We're gonna get the inside around the neck. So his head's gonna be covering up most of this, but I want to get these kind of inner fleshy bits colored. That I'm gonna also give this a wash and then do some highlighting, but just for a base coat. I think this could look pretty cool. Some alien flesh. Really trying to lean into some of these contrasting blue and purple colors just to add some visual interest. To grab a smaller brush for getting up in there. Also, this Nuln oil is not quite dry yet, so I'm gonna have to hair dryer this. Yeah, struggling to speak tonight. Yeah, I like to do a little bit of experimenting here and there. Especially when I got most of the scheme down, and there's a couple little things I want to try to, you know, make it a little bit different. So, look to carefully get these under flesh bits painted with that cool mixture. I got a little bit on the carapace, but that's okay. That'll get covered up once I start doing the highlight build up on the edges. But I still want to be careful and not make a total mess of this. And then we'll also get in these armpit sockets. Oh, made a mistake. I done screwed up. blending the... Oh, too much water. Hate it when that happens. I don't know if you ever had that happen where a bead of water will collect on your brush and you're painting and it just kind of works its way down and then gets right all over what you're painting. Most annoying. I think his Cthulhu-like tendrils would look cool in that color as well. And grab a bigger brush for that. Yep, more than once. Yeah. Yeah, that's always really annoying when that happens. Liquid physics. Be a pain sometimes. That's actually a cool purple. I should try to find that color pre-mixed. Kind of like Screamer Pink, but a little bit more on the purple side. I am a fan. Alright, let's get the inside of these mantis arms colored that same color. Going to be very careful here not to get this purple where it doesn't belong. I'm gonna get this on as a base coat. I'll go over it with a wash. And maybe do a little bit of a lighter highlight. Now, normally I don't do a whole lot of detail on my Tyranids, but the big monsters and the characters, I do like to put a little bit more effort in. But like the Termagants and, you know, the chaff, I don't really focus as much on. Just because it's a horde army, and I would never have a painted army otherwise. Yeah, I think this is going to look really cool when it's done. I'm running out of mixture on my palette though. I'm going to have to mix some more. It's like 50-50 Xerxes purple and Screamer pink. Oh yeah, I like that. That's a nice color. I am a fan. Need some more Screamer pink, I think. There we go. Alright, we're gonna come in and do this other one. Not that I have too much of this mixture. Yeah, I like the way that looks. That'll do. It's kind of tricky to get in there because he's got the arms closed. The other Lictor I put together, he's got his arms opened. I have seen that cool effect where people, I think they use like resin or almost hot glue, and they get like strands of viscera and flesh kind of tangled up in these things, and then they paint them red for the blood for the blood god. I think that would be really cool. I'm not fully sure how to do that technique though, what they use for that. So I'd only do it if it's like pretty strong and not super fragile. But those always look really cool. Yeah, it is a nice contrasting color. It's very alien looking. I've seen it done with resin. Resin. Like they start to partially, like UV resin, or so I have a bunch of that laying around. I want to use some clear stuff though. I don't have any clear resin. Touching up some spots there. Yes, UV resin. Well, I'll have to look up some videos on how to do that. I'm not sure I am confident enough to attempt that on my own blindly. Just gonna do a second coat here since I got so much more of this mixed up. A little bit more vibrant. There we go. All right, now we're going to move on to the other fleshy bits. I have a tickle in my throat. The air is a bit dry down here. And also recovering from the con. Flu, not flu. Minor annoyance. So for the other fleshy bits, I'm just gonna go straight up Xerxes purple, like the rest of my army. And that's anywhere where there is like some connective tissue in between the joints. And then these little like bug vents. That they have all over their arms and legs. This adds a little bit more visual interest to the Tyranids since my army is so dark colored. A little bit more of a contrasty pop. Oh, I think I did miss, yeah, some tissue up in this arm. I also missed some carapace. Wow. It's not like me. Alright. We'll just get that touched up. Also, yeah, get that inked up in there. Yeah, the carapace actually goes all the way back around the backside here. So I'm gonna get that with Inky by Darkness. Same goes for this one. Gonna get this whole shell Inky by Darkness. And once that dries a little bit, I'll just hit that with a quick bug vents. That's a scientific term, I assume. Yes. The Imperial biologists coined that when they dissected the first Tyranids after the First Tyrannic War. Oh, and there goes the other arm. All right, back to all hands. All right, note to self: super glue next time. Okay. We have no bug vents on this guy. I think we just got these rending claw arms and then the legs. Get these bug vents. Put in the hands. Can't wait to start gluing this thing together. Watch it come to life. The downside of sub-assembly painting. It's less gratifying until the very end. Right. One hand down, one to go. The link I posted didn't show up in your fancy chat display. Maybe, maybe there's some auto moderation going on and it's blocking links, would be my guess. I assume that's a link to the glue you're talking about. And I assume you're laughing at the arm flying off the sub-assembly holder. Not as embarrassing as when I stabbed myself with my X-Acto knife a couple weeks ago. That scout, or that lieutenant in Phobos armor. That was rough. Might be. Black Magic Craft did a fine video. Oh, on the UV resin. Black Magic Craft. I have seen his videos. I will definitely check that out. So I can learn the technique, learn the ways. Yeah, he's got a lot of good stuff. Yeah, I definitely want to do more terrain crafting and painting videos. I have a couple projects in my queue that I am kind of working on or have started, thinking about that I'm gonna do eventually. Just, so many hours in the day. This would be great to be able to do full time. One day, maybe. We'll see. In the meantime, just having fun with it. Oops. Purple where it's not supposed to be. I think I got it. Yes. The flying arm was terribly amusing. I'm sure it was. I thought it was funny. Alright. Oh, I suppose the kneecaps are exposed, and I had painted those purple in the past on other stuff, so... The exposed kneecaps, their one weakness. I used to be a Lictor like you, but then I took a bolter to the knee. Stabbings are not funny. Flying body parts are. Sounds funny out of context. Alright, so next I am going to dunk this purple fleshy color in Druchii Violet. This is a really good wash, one of my favorites. Use my medium shade brush for that, and I'm going to shade this inner collar. The heavy heaping of Druchii Violet. I'm going to carefully get it in Oops, these vents too. Get a little bit on the carapace, but that's okay because I'm still going to go over and build up some highlights on that. I'm also going to Druky Violet the Mantis arms on the inside here. Just kind of darken those up a little bit. Get some of that shading going on. And the other one. Get a little bit of shading in the joints here. This shade also goes great over Gene Stealer Purple. For if you want a quick purple color with some definition and shading, it'll darken it right up. Get that inner thigh, kneecaps, bug vents. Not super concerned with getting full coverage on these little arms because it's such a small area, it's not going to make much difference, but big areas like the wrists and the armpits, I'll definitely get, whoops, with a good shade. There we go. All right. And after that, we're going to do some of the scything talons, I think. And I like to do those in Mechanicus Standard Gray, the hooves and the talons. I have some on my palette from yesterday. We just try to bring it back to life here. I think that'll do. So with these hooves, I'm just going to get Mechanicus Standard Gray. On the hooves, and then we got these little talons coming out the feet. So anywhere where there's a little pokey talon sticking out, I'm just gonna paint in Mechanicus Standard Gray. Got a lot of hidden little talons. Guess that's why they make good assassin beasts. I was also reading the data sheet for the Lictors, and I'm surprised they no longer have Deep Strike. They did in all the other editions. 8th edition, 10th edition, or 9th edition, but not 10th edition. They do have Infiltrate, so you can advance deploy them. And you can target them with Rapid Ingress for free. Which is also kind of weird because they don't have Deep Strike. Thought that was very odd. Interesting design choice. Not fully sure what the the reasoning is there. Maybe they'd be too powerful otherwise, I don't know. Get these talons coming out of these mantis arms. Got these claws on the rending claws. Get those in Mechanicus standard gray as well. Just to make them stand out a bit more. Make them look a little bit more vicious. Both sides. All right. Mechanicus standard gray is done. I think. Just double check. Yes. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to check the base. It is still not fully dry. I put some of this texture paint on here before starting the stream in hopes that it would be nice and dry. And it is almost dry. Okay, so now we're going to start doing some highlights on the carapace. And for that, I am going to do a chunky highlight with Dawnstone, then a more fine highlight with Administratum Gray. I have some on my palette, but it's not really in good shape, so I'm just going to grab some fresh stuff. Just because it's on the wet palette doesn't mean we always have to use it. Sometimes if the moisture is too high, the paint just kind of separates and it's no good. Alright, so I'm just using a medium layer brush, pretty thin down, and I'm just going to start to kind of go around these raised areas with Dawnstone. Just kind of following the ridges along the edge. And by doing this with thin paint, it's not going to cover as thick, so it blends in with the Thunderhawk blue very nicely, and it makes it a little bit more of a subtle effect. So kind of playing around with paint consistency unlocks a lot of things you can do. And of course, having a wet palette makes that all the easier. Oh, I just realized there's a spot that I missed with the Mechanicus standard gray, and that is these the things coming out of his chest. What are they called? Flesh hooks. He's got flesh hooks. I can quickly paint those up too. I'll get those real quick so I don't forget. Flesh hooks need to be painted gray. With Mechanicus standard gray. Help these stand out a little bit. Showcasing the Lictor's weapons of death. Flesh hook, scything talons, mantis arms. A Cthulhu head. This guy means business. Alright. Back to Dawnstone. Gonna kind of carefully come down. Back here. And then for these big carapace folds of armor, I like to kind of feather it up from the bottom. Kind of gives it that interesting organic effect. And it goes pretty quickly. Kind of doing a chunky highlight edge around edges of the carapace. Up the center spine bit. All around here. Also being careful not to get the gray into the cracks where it's all nicely shaded with the gnome oil. There we go, this is coming along nicely. Alright, so we got this little bit on the chest still. Let's get that. Building up some of these highlights. A little subtle. Alright, now on to the legs. Same deal. Come along the edges here. Start to build up that chunky highlight. It's a Dawnstone. Doesn't have to be terribly neat. Kind of adds to the organic nature of this. It's pretty forgiving. Just gonna follow along the outer edges of these armor panels and repeat the process on the other side. Come up center. And these little shin guards, can't forget about those. Then we'll go down the back. Just gonna build up some of those highlights along the raised edges. This paint being so thin, it really blends in nicely with the undercoat, and it's not too opaque, not too intense. It's just what we want. It's already doing a lot for us. Otherwise, everything's too dark and all the detail kind of gets lost. But this really brings out the detail in the armor platings on the carapace and kind of lightens up the darkness a little bit. And I really like the way that's looking. So we're going to continue on with the next part of the highlight. And we're going to grab a smaller brush, and we're going to do this with Administratum Gray next. So similar method here. Some Administratum Gray on the palette. Get some water mixed in there. Let's get it nice and thin. And then I'm going to pick out the hardest edges and just layer in some of this highlight here, just to push the effect even further. Because we did the chunky highlight with the Dawnstone, just like the power armor. We don't have to go everywhere with the lightest highlight, the Administratum Gray. Just kind of be a little bit more selective with it. Then it really blends in with the rest. So like these ridges on the back, make sure we get those. Shoulders. Yeah, that's looking good. I like that. Going down the back. I like to get that hard crease down the spine. Some of these hard edges. It's a lot quicker than highlighting power armor. Because again, the organic shape kind of plays into the slight imperfection, how it looks. And then I just like to take a very light amount on the brush. Kind of do some thin lines going up. Gonna blend in that chunky highlight. Get that classic Tyranid bug carapace look going on. It's looking good. I like that. Alright, so let's do the same for the legs. Once again, going to get a light mixture of Administratum Gray on my brush. And then just kind of very carefully get those sharp edges. Just kind of accentuate the details a little bit more on those extreme hard edges. So like coming down the leg here, really emphasize that crease. This is an outside leg, so we're gonna make the outside panel folds a little bit more prominent. I'll also come down the back here. I'll do some of this on the back. A little tedious, but worth it in the end. I think so. There we go. A little subtle. Looks good. Oh. Cannot forget about the head. I don't think I did any Dawnstone on here, so I will also do that. Dawnstone. Around the edges on the outside, get that chunky highlight going. I do this all with my small brush because it's kind of small detail here. But after this, we're going to start doing some glazing on some areas of the skin, the arms, to make it a little bit more interesting. Kind of similar to what I did with the Norn Emissary or Simulator. I did some glazing with Bremer Pink around the tail to kind of blend in some more color. That looked really cool, so I think I'm going to do something similar with the Lictor. And then I also need to do some highlights on the Mantis arms, where they are darker than the rest of the carapace, just to kind of make those look a little bit different and stand out. And then just a few more details here and there, and then I think this thing will be wrapping up real quick. So I think for sure we are going to finish this tonight. This base is dry enough. I will get the Agrax Earthshade going on that, and then we'll jump back to the Lictor. Alright, so let's get the Earthshade all over this earth. Oops, I'll have to come back to that once that dries. Okay, let's get back to the Leaper. And I'm gonna grab some, where are you? Screamer Pink. We're gonna get some of that on the palette with my shade brush. And I'm gonna mix in a lot of water. This paint is very, has a strong pigment. So along the tail, I'm just going to start kind of glazing up the screamer pink. About halfway up the tail. And then also, I think I'll do the same up here, about halfway up this long mantis arm. Kind of up to this joint here, before we get to the talon, the outer carapace. Now once this dries, I'm going to go over and do it again. What I'm trying to do is build up a gradient and introduce some of this kind of pink color into the flesh color. Very cool. Yeah. And we're going to do the same on the head to get some that glaze kind of going. So I'm going to focus on these ridges kind of sticking out on his head, and then the under balloon part of his head, while also trying to avoid the neck itself. Almost looks like a plant. Like flora. Yeah, here's kind of the effect we're getting with the tail. Kind of blending in there. I'm going to go over it again with Screamer Pink, and we're going to get a little bit stronger. It's going to get a nice glaze consistency going. And then I'm going to start about halfway up from what I did before. Do the same thing. Glazes always kind of freak me out because they go on looking very, very strong. And you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And then, as it dries, it really fades down. You just have to kind of trust the process. That's going to do what you know it's supposed to do. So similar with the mantis arms, starting about halfway up from where I did before and pulling it up towards the top. There's that tip or trick where the paint will kind of be the most strongest where your brush finishes the stroke. So starting from the bottom and pulling up and letting go so that it kind of collects where I'm letting go, because that's where I want it to be the strongest. Excuse me. Nice. This is starting to work. It's working. I think maybe one more glaze coat ought to do it. Oh, the head. Can't forget about the head. I'm starting at the bottom and pulling it up to the top. Alright, that's almost dry. Just give it a little bit to dry. And in the meantime, I'll come back to here. Looks like we have some rubble. So I will just go over that with Dawnstone, I think. Some rubble and some Tyranid growth. So it's going to take at least 2 thin coats. We got like a little Tyranid spore chimney growing. So I'll just paint that with the Thunderhawk blue. And I'll blend in some of that Elysian green. Not too worried about being super neat on the base here, because I am going to go over this with a brown wash, Agrax Earthshade, and it'll all just kind of blend together and fade into the background as it should. This isn't a super elaborate base, so I do have some purple plants I'll probably be slapping on here too. Picked up some alien purple plants from Adepticon. I thought I'd use it to spruce up my Tyranid bases a little bit. And this tickle in my throat just will not go away. And the rebar, I'm just going to do an Mechanicus standard gray heavy overbrush. There you go, some non-metallic metal for you. That's a joke, by the way. Alright, back to the tail. Gonna do one last glaze of our Screamer Pink glaze. So then starting up halfway from before, same deal, pulling it up to the tail. So by always starting the distance, cutting it in half, you get a nice blended gradient. Yeah, the glaze consistency is a little tricky to get. Not gonna lie. But with a little bit of practice, get a feel for the whatever color you're using. Kind of get a feel for how much water is needed to get a good glaze. Alright. That's looking really good. I'm liking this. I could get this to focus. There we go. So we get that like gradient going on here with the mantis arms. I think that'll add a lot of visual interest in the skin. I was unaware you had a sense of humor. I have a very dry sense of humor. Alright, so we're gonna let that dry a little bit longer. We do have some highlights on the mantis arms themselves, which I think I can do once we attach them to the body, and I think we're getting close to that point. So I'm going to pop this off, and I think we can start the assembly process, which is very exciting. So I'm going to grab my hobby knife and shave away some of this paint so that we have some exposed plastic. So the glue can bond the two pieces together. Alright, so for a big join like this, I will use this goopy tester's glue. Oh, look at that, he's got a body. That's very cool. And the arm is like all the way back like this. Okay, that's how that goes. Put the glob there. This one fits in like that. Yeah, this is a really cool kit. I'm really excited to see this. The pose coming together. Ready to jump on some Space Marines and rip them apart. Uh-oh. There we go. Torso came apart. So I'll have to glue dry a little bit. As do I. Yeah, it is a cool kit. Lictors are always... I've always been... loved Lictors, but I don't know, I just never really played them a whole lot. I had one old Lictor as metal, and I didn't want to get any of the fine cast ones, because fine cast is garbage. So, just happy to see the new Lictor model come out. Just scraping away, getting at that plastic. Should probably clean up the head a little bit, the neck. So full of that horrible Gal Force 9 glue. Don't buy that stuff, it's trash. Cleaning up the neck a little bit so I can glue that in. And then in the neck cavity, one downside of subassembly, sometimes gluing it together can be a little hairy because glue doesn't like to necessarily bond well with the paint. I will be using Mia extra thin cement get it along the inside area where the head will fit on. And stick it on in there. Looks pretty cool. I'm liking that. I think I will go back and do some highlights on the head still. Kind of like the ridges coming up and then on the tentacle mouth. But initially that's looking really good. I like that. We got the mantis arms that fit on. Something like that. Very cool. Very cool. You know, I wonder if some of that gradient would look cool on his arms too. Kind of by his hands. I don't know. Maybe I'll leave them as is for now. But let's do something with that face. Okay, let's do some pure Screamer Pink. Edge highlights. Just to really bring out that detail. This torso does not want to stay glued. I'll have to do something about that. Yeah, this whole painting session has just been a sub-assembly failure. The arms don't want to stay on the holder. Doesn't want to stay glued together. Oh, he's actually got some little mouth sliding talons that I missed. I'll go ahead and paint those. Alright, so now I'm going to highlight the mouth tentacles with Gene Sealer Purple. Probably going to mix this in with our mixture. The other mixture, just to kind of make it less intense. Yeah, just kind of tone it down a little bit. Some water in there. I'm just going to come down. Really lighten up these mouth tentacles. Little piece of shaved off plastic from... No, shaving plastic. Get that off. Wow. Just like that. That's already looking much better. And then for the eyes, I will do yellow, I think. Everland Sunset. I like to do yellow for my Tyranid eyes. Put it up very carefully. Get the yellow eye in there. There we go, the glowing yellow eye. Wouldn't want to run into this guy, that's for sure. Alright, and then I will get this glued onto the base. I'm gonna need to scrape some more paint off here. Sure that plastic's exposed. We'll try the Tamiya cement this time. Get a healthy amount. Yeah, that should be able to work its way through the paint into the plastic. Well, I'm liking the way that's looking. Okay, so now back to the base real quick. Agrex Earth Shade. Can't forget about the base. And we'll let that dry. I'll do the dry brush on the base. And while that's drying, we'll go back to these mantis arms. And I gotta do a highlight. And I think what I'm gonna do is Thunderhawk Blue. And then maybe even a lighter one after that. But we'll start with Thunderhawk Blue for now. Kind of like a different style highlight, but with similar colors. The rest of the carapace. Could even maybe go to a rust gray for the lightest color. We'll see how the Thunderhawk Blue looks. Alright, so get all the edges with Thunderhawk Blue. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to come in with a lighter color after this. But that's okay. Just lay the groundwork. I'm a big fan of two-pass highlights anyways. Just get a really cool effect. Probably help if I had the arm on camera while I'm doing this. Sometimes I forget what I see and what the camera sees is not the same. Yeah, this is giving me some ideas for when I get to my Death Leaper. Still in the box, but I think I have to finish these Lictors, and I have some more Von Ryan Leapers I need to paint. I'll open up the Death Leaper. The Death Leaper for sure will probably be another stream special, so stay tuned. You'll probably see the Death Leaper getting painted up one of these weeks. I mean, it's pretty dark, but already you can see the difference between the two. So we'll do the other arm. Wow, the chat lag is intense. Yes, it is. A good rule of thumb for glaze: if you think you've added enough water, add more. Yep, that is a good rule of thumb. I think I missed that one earlier, but that is usually how it goes. You're like, oh yeah, that's about right. Let me just add some more water. It's better to put it on really thin and just do more passes than to have it too thick and you've kind of ruined it. But you also don't want it to be like a wash. Yeah, glazing is kind of tricky. And every paint is a little bit different too. They all behave a little differently. It all depends on the color. And get these. You know, I'm wondering if I do need a second pass with another color. Let's just see how these look. You know, I think these actually look alright. I want them to look dark, and they do look dark. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Alright, so I'm still waiting for the base to dry. I will do the skin effect next. I like to make the skin a little glossy on these bugs, so I like to mix in some technical ard coat, and I like to water it down so it's not super intense. Grab a junky brush for that. I used to do this really thick, and I've been really thinning it down. Less is more. So it's like a 2-to-1 ratio. 2 parts water, 1 part ard coat. Maybe even 3-to-1. And then I just go over the skin. Nasty, moist monster. Makes it look like the xenomorph from Alien. The glossy skin. Real gross. Got some on the leg armor down here. Try not to do that, but can't be helped. Oh well. Not much I can do after that. Be sure to get the undersides of the arms. Set that down. Let it dry. Then we also have to get the mantis arms. Get those all glossied up. The gloss finish really brings out the dark in the skin, like the black undercoat. Kind of tones down the green a little bit. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Alright, so this will just take a little minute to dry here. There is a spot on the tail I did forget to highlight, so I will quickly do that carefully while not touching the skin. So I'm going to go over this bit back here with the Thunderhawk blue. So it matches the mantis arms. Get a similar vibe check here. Okay. All right. That'll just take a minute or two to dry with the hard coat. It does dry pretty quickly. Now we can move on to the base. Just gonna blow dry this base. It's still a little wet. The wash. All right. So Rakarth, what? I have this like a little bit of there. We go. It's stuck on there. Rakarth flesh shade or flesh, not Rakarth. Rakarth, like, where's the color? Yeah, Rakarth flesh. I like to go over that, over this base. And I bring back the earthy tones. Just use a dry brush for that. Typical Citadel dry brush. Will do just fine. Just go over the earth here. Something real simple in the base. Clean my brush, and you know what? I'm gonna go. I'll be right back. I'll grab my purple plants. Alright, I'm back. Yeah, the chat is super bad. I apologize, there is some buffering going on. I got an alert saying that it's extra laggy. So I think we're just gonna have to bear with it for tonight. Hopefully next week it'll be a little bit better. So I have these purple alien purple plants I got from Gamer's Grass, the booth. So hopefully the stream quality is okay. If not, I apologize. Could be having some internet issues affecting the quality, because it has been better other nights. Alright, so I think if we put some purple grass there, maybe some back there, that ought to be enough. This is interesting, it comes in like different clump sizes. At least in the army painter, where each tuft is its own thing. I'm gonna let that dry just a little bit more, and I'll get the rim of the base with the old army painter field gray. Get the rim of the base. Coat or two of this. Those mantis arms should be ready to glue on soon. Then I'll be able to pop them on the base. We'll have a finished product. So close to the end. I'm gonna power through until it's done. Alright, so for the mantis arms, I'm going to a little bit of extra thin cement on the socket. First arm seated. And number 2. Yeah, this would have been much harder to paint had I not done a sub-assembly. That is for sure. Uh-oh. There goes an arm. I'll just hold these here for a little bit until that glue sets. I want to set this down in a way that it'll stay put. Lean them up against the paint pot. There we go. And let's get the other coat on the base rim. All right. Scrape away some of this paint carefully. So I can get a good glob of glue in there. These arms do not want to stay put. I might have to bust out the testers. These arms just do not want to stay put. Alright, here we go. Little hole. There we go. Oh. I think I got it. I think it. There. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he doesn't want to stay put. I might have to super glue him to the base. The Lictor is done. Yeah, I think I have to bust out the super glue because he's not sticking. Let me do that real quick. But yeah, this is pretty much it for tonight. I got the Lictor painted. Struggling with the sub-assembly, among other things. Internet issues. Apologize about the internet issues. Affecting the stream quality and all that stuff. But if you're still watching, it's still coming through. Thanks for watching and for supporting the channel and all that good stuff. Stay tuned for new videos coming out. The Adepticon post review will be coming out in about a week or so. Maybe sooner, depending on how quickly that comes together. But there'll be a video about that, so stay tuned for that. But here we go. We have the finished Lictor. A very cool model. I love this model. Awesome model. The best. And I will leave us at that for this week. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye. See you next week.